At ease. It's your boy Solo Mortal. Guys, today I want to talk about this one single thing, right? It's this one single thing that keeps people from achieving their goals. And when I talk about goals, I'm not just talking about like success and money and career and all that. I'm talking about any goal. I'm talking about weight loss. I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about any goal a person can set, right? There's one thing that keeps people from making that final step. You know, we talked about the runners, we talked about the jumpers, but a lot of people, a lot of people that have seen the recipe, a lot of people can create their world and that world manifests itself, and then that person get to the edge and they're scared to step off, right? They're scared to jump off that plane. What is that one thing, right? The one thing that's keeping the majority of people back is they fail to change their perspective.
Is it not written in your law that ye are gods? You understand what I'm saying? So it just depends on what level you own based on, whether you're human or whether you're immortal.
So what do I mean by perspective, right? Well, in the spirit world, when we're talking about our meditation, when we're talking about praying, right? When we're talking about the world that we go to in our sleep, I'm always telling you that there's a huge difference between being in the third person and being in the first person, right? See, most time when you ask somebody who's just not starting to meditate or visualize or go into some kind of deep trance of Zen or whatever, right? If you ask them what they're looking at when they're visualizing, they're going to explain a world to you in the third person point of view. In other words, if they imagine themselves living a life, they're watching themselves live a life. That's third person, right? The thing is, on the spirit side, you have to see things from the first person point of view. And I got that from Neville several years ago. And I thought it was something minor, but you have to understand that once you go from third to first person, now you're experiencing a thing, right? So now you're putting emotion into a thing, which is the creative power, right? Now, as the Kundalini say, as above, so below. So now that we're in this physical world, you have to understand you're going to see that relation somewhere else, right? So what most people are doing, and the reason why most people, fail to achieve their goals is simply because they're still thinking of their goals instead of living their lives from their goals. Now, I know this sounds so minor, but I'm telling you, when a person goes from thinking of a thing to living from a thing, I'm telling you, brothers, it's game changing. It's game changing. On my last video, there's a sister named Betty Calixtro. She's going to nursing school, right? And this is what Betty said. Betty says, "Am I the only woman listening to you?" Then she goes on to say, she talks about, taking notes and applying herself. She talks about, watching podcasts, healing from childhood traumas, growing spiritually. But if you look toward the bottom, it says, "I finally started a morning routine at 4 a.m. and I'm so proud of myself. I finally took the leap to start nursing school. I was in so much fear." I'm telling you, brothers, Betty is exhibit A. Betty is exhibit A. I guarantee you that this sister had planned on being a nurse for years. I guarantee you she planned on being a nurse for years. You heard her talking about, I'm reading the books, I'm doing the podcast, I'm leveling up spiritually. But again, she says there was still fear. She said, "I finally started waking up at 4 a.m. and then things started planning out." What Betty was saying was, until I got in the mindset of living from the nurse, doing what nurses got to do to get that job done, I was scared to take that leap. But as soon as I started living from it, as soon as I started waking up at 4 o'clock, doing what I had to do, that's when it all came to be. I'm telling you guys, this is the way it's going to happen every single time, right? I got a homegirl, man. It's really like my little sister down in Atlanta, man. His name is Rochelle Cooper. Now me and Rochelle, man, we met. Me and Rochelle met a couple of years ago. We met on IG. And I noticed that Rochelle's content on Instagram was along the lines of stuff I was talking about, manifestation, spirituality. And we just became friends. And I don't know when it happened, but it's almost like we just slowly became accountability partners, right? It's crazy, right? So we were still doing the corporate America thing. Rochelle was working, down in Atlanta. She was working for Coke. I was working up here in Dallas. I was working for Cummins. And it's weird because just random days, man. Sometimes Rochelle will call me. She'll be at work. I'll be at work. And just for about 10 to 15 minutes, we would just kind of talk about future events. She would kind of tell me her idea. She had an idea on starting she's a chef, right? She's into cooking, so she wanted to be catering for these big events and started her own company, right? So she would tell me about all the stuff she would do, the equipment she would buy, all the events she would plan and all this stuff. And I would kind of give her my spiel on what kind of moves I was making. And this is what I noticed after about 6 months or a year of knowing Rochelle, right? I noticed on her Instagram, she finally started an Instagram page for her business, right? And I noticed all her posts that they had changed, right? And when I say change, she changed perspectives, right? Instead of being an employee at Coca-Cola, with plans to start, her own business, she became a business owner that just happened to still be working at Coca-Cola, right? It's a completely different point of view, right? One day I looked on Instagram, and Rochelle's posting a picture in front of her old job, just, her long spiel like, it was good, but I'm out. I quit. Now, man, she's doing all these huge events, man. She's getting all these great reviews, cooking these big meals. She's traveling. And all she had to do was step into it, man. I know she was just I just talked to her recently. She was out in Cali doing some stuff. She was doing some stuff in Texas. It's all about that perspective. I'm telling you, as soon as you change that perspective, now that world's gonna come see you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're thinking from that point of view. Your decisions, your moves are from that point of view, right? And I'm telling you, brothers, I had this problem for the longest. I put all this work in for a couple of years, man. I said, you know what? I'm ready to make that leap. I'm ready to make that leap. And I looked up one day, man, and I was confused because I'd made all the right moves, I created me a number of passive income generating assets, right? I'd made some good moves in the stock market. I'd made some products of my own that were selling on a daily basis. It got to the point where my side hustle income surpassed my six-figure income with my company, right? And something still had me scared to make that move. I had to change it in my mind. I was still an employee trying to have a side hustle. I had to become an entrepreneur that just happened to still be in corporate America. And I'm telling you, brother, as soon as I made that switch in my mind, brother, that world came to see me faster than I expected it, man. So again, it's all about perspective, right? It's all about getting in the mindset of taking that jump. Steve Harvey, I'm not a big fan of Steve Harvey when he's talking about relationships, and I'm not a big fan of his then, but when the brother's talking about success, oh, brother, he's on it. Harvey made a video a couple of years, I'm sure everybody's seen this, a couple of years ago, where he was talking about success. And he was like, you got to take that jump. You got to leap, right? And what he said is, he said when you first make that leap, when you first jump, he said it's not going to be smooth sailing, right? He said you're going to hit the wall a little bit. You're going to have some bruises and all this stuff. He said, but at some point in time, that parachute is going to open, right? That is huge. Because see, what you have to understand, that you going from your old mindset to your new mindset, man, a lot of times it's not going to be that quick transition. A lot of times, a lot of us are institutionalized in our mindsets. A lot of us that work for these companies, we're institutionalized. We can't even fathom what it's like to make our own decisions, to take lunch breaks when we want, to take vacations when we want to. That's a whole other mindset. When we're trying to lose weight, we're still coming from a mindset of a person that's going to Popeyes for lunch every day. And we're institutionalizing that instead of coming from a person that's making healthier decisions, right? Even in relationships, when it comes to us, getting with a 5% man or getting with a 5% woman. If we've been dealing with thoughts and 95% women for 15 years, 10, 20 years, it's going to be hard to even get in the mindset to have a good man, a good woman. A good man, a good woman show up on your door and you won't even know it because you're still in that old mindset. And this is when it comes down to, and I think I made a video about this a while back, self-crucifixion. At some point, when you get to that edge, you're going to have to kill that old self. In a nutshell, what I'm starting to realize is that there are far more jumpers than we think. What I'm saying is there are far more people that have taken their ideas, that have run them through the God box. And if you don't know what I'm talking about God box, I'm talking about the whole manifestation process. You can check the recipe out, right? So there are some people that have ran it through the God box, have manifested, their dream life, and now they're just standing on the edge, looking over in fear. Just like the sister Betty said, right? 3 takeaways. First, a person needs to crucify their old self. You can't keep living from your old mindset and expect that new world to be there. You can't live in both, right? You can't live. In other words, if you look at my videos that I made back in 2019, 2018, that was a different soul. That soul is dead. The soul that you're watching now, if I plan on continue to evolve as a man, then at some point this soul will no longer live, and I'll be another person. I'll have to continue to evolve, right? So you have to always, be in the mindset of crucifying the old self. You can't keep doing the same things. You can't keep thinking the same way, right? Second is you have to burn bridges. I'm telling you, there are a lot of you brothers, where your ex-girlfriend, right, still has access to you. She can call and text you up 24 hours a day. She can jump in your DMs and your inbox on social media at any point of the day, and you're going to entertain it, right? You have to burn those bridges. The reason it's important to burn those bridges is because these people, and sometimes it's just your friends, these people are attached to the old version of you. If you're still attached to these old people, then you're still in that world. You have to burn bridges, guys. You have to burn bridges. And third, a person simply has to, remember to stop thinking of their goals, start living from their goals, and simply jump.